Wherever you go, whatever you do not say yes when you mean to say no. And the second version of this song is wherever you go, 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 whatever you do, CCA, go, do not say yes when you mean to say no. Bye-bye, Badon. Yeah, so that was a song we used to sing back in the 80s. Quite a catchy song, and it's a song that is telling of people's behavior in terms of not being able to say no. I don't know what the Baba Ibadan is doing at the end of that song, but if you do understand what the Baba Ibadan is doing at the end of that song, kindly drop a comment. I don't know what the Baba Ibadan reference at the end of the song means. Kindly drop a comment in the comment section in the video below. Thank you so much. So my name is Mary Ogunbola, and today's topic we're talking about personal boundaries. Boundaries could be seen as like a door you have in your house. That's a boundary to prevent, except you open the door, nobody can have access into the house. Alright, so that's a very common example of what you can term boundary. So in our personal space, in our personal life, boundaries could be in terms of your mental space or emotional space. It could be a physical environment. It could be in terms of your material. Okay, so boundaries could come in those areas. As Africans, as Nigerians, there's a tendency for people to want to think they own us because we are family, or because we are neighbors, or because we are partners. There's that assumption that they own us, we are their property of some sort, and so they tend to do the things they do. Personally, I've been this kind of person, very introverted. Recently I'll classify myself as intro extro, but beginning of my adult life I was very introverted, and so that has kind of also helped me to understand that I enjoy my own space, that I'm comfortable in my own self, and I'm comfortable in my own space, and I've created a safe space for myself to evolve and to thrive. So I hold that space very sacred, very important to me, and so I don't appreciate that people just barging emotionally, barging mentally, barging physically into my space. So that's just me. But I understand as Nigerians, Africans, this can be a bit hard, but then of course, when we understand and respect one another in any relationship, when somebody has put up a boundary, the right thing is to respect that boundary. The right thing for that relationship to be healthy and thriving is for you to respect the boundary that the person has put up. While I was dwelling on this topic, I remember when I started my first job back in 2002. I was a youth corper in the organization, and after my youth service I was retained in that company. So I recall back then that the work hours was from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So whenever we finished work, people would tend to go home by 5 on a typical day. Okay. On some other days, when the MD, a very huge person and quite intimidating with his appearance, people kind of fear him, sort of. So whenever he's around, sometimes he's away on business trips and something like that. So whenever he's around in the organization, you find that people do not leave the organization at 5. You know, they don't leave at the closing time. That's what I mean. At the time that work is expected to have closed, and then people leave to their homes. So I used to observe this thing, and it was quite amusing. This was my first time being engaged as in a workplace of any sort. This was my first time. So I observed it, and it was quite funny to me because I didn't feel that way. Whenever I finished my task, as young as I was, whenever I finished my task, And even though the MD was present, and usually when he's present like that and it was towards closing time, he will stand by the entrance to the door that leads out of the building. And so people will be like, they will be hesitating, be waiting that, oh, when he goes inside his office, then they will leave. And I will pick my bag and I will just head off to my house. And on my way, if I see him there, I'll say, good night, sir, and just leave. When I reflected on this, I realized that people were afraid to own their time because they're saying, we are slave to you. Whenever you're here, we can't do anything. A workplace is not a slave place. It's not a place to be enslaved. It's a place for you to work and go back home to your loved ones. You have families, you have children, wife, relatives. I mean, those people need you. Even though you have to do some of this work to earn some money, but you don't have to become so fearful of some bosses that you now think, oh, whenever he's there, I can't go. If he sees me going and I've not really extended the work time beyond the closing hours, I've not really done so much. That's one of the things that made me think of this topic of boundaries. Because our time is essentially our life. If you think about it, our time is our life. So when people feel that way, they are saying, I do not own my time. The company owns my time. That is a wrong way of approaching your time. If there's an agreement between you and the organization that you work from 8 to 5, any other extra hours you put in, sometimes the work you're doing does not finish until exactly the closing time, which I've experienced quite a number of times. So I wait until my system completes. There's an equipment that I use and need to complete maybe after a few minutes or even an hour after. It depends on the timing. So there is flexibility, of course. Sometimes you give and sometimes you take. That's the way it's supposed to be. But to have finished your task and to say, oh, you won't leave because the man is there, that's kind of like being afraid of the man for no reason, because he may not even be aware that you are feeling that way. But then people need to take their power back and say, I own my time, I own my life. Of course, I'm giving this time to the company, but the rest of the time is my time. Some people will go home after work and they will still continue with work. And that makes their family suffer, their relationships to suffer. But then each person needs to own their own power. For those who have lost their power, this is a time to start thinking about it and take the power back. So like the song says, when you mean to say no, don't say yes. When you mean to say no, don't say yes. A lot of people say yes. That's the default, like a default setting. Generally, in all humans. Will you help me drop the children in school? Yes. Would you help me care for this baby? Yes. Will you give me your car? Yes. Will you help me with this additional task before close of business? Yes. So we tend to just say yes without even thinking. How does that affect us without thinking? How does my yes affect me? So we don't think, we just say yes. And that is not a good thing for our well-being. As an individual, I'm responsible for my well-being. I've realized that, and I'm living in the truth of that. And I'm responsible for my dreams. I'm responsible for actualizing the dreams in my heart. I'm responsible for finding joy and finding peace within myself. I'm responsible for being happy. I don't have to wait for somebody to make me happy. So when we take that power back, because over years, subconsciously we tend to give away that power within us to do all these beautiful things for ourselves. But a lot of the time we tend to give it away, give it to family members, to spouses, to friends. We just give them so they have our buttons and they can push it anytime they feel like it. That doesn't have to be so. That's where personal boundaries come in. You need to understand that it's important you understand that saying no is important sometimes, that you need You need time to rest. You don't have to take everything upon yourself. If you don't feel well, or if you don't feel good doing a favor, if you don't feel good doing a favor and you do that favor, you resent the person. You have that resentment for that person. The person wouldn't know, because not that they don't really care about you anyway. We have quite a lot of manipulative people in the world today. Very manipulative people. They have an agenda within themselves that they want to fulfill, and they don't mind using you, okay, taking advantage of you because you've made yourself available to them. So they don't mind using you to fulfill their own agenda, whatever that may be. So it's up to you to say, no, I'm sorry, I cannot at this time. I'm sorry, I'm not available at this period. I'm sorry, I can't take this additional work. I'm not your dog with my main task. And that is complete in itself. However, that person, some people will feel hungry because they feel entitled to your time. They feel entitled to your space. They feel entitled to you because they feel that you're their property. So when you say, no, you cannot talk to me this way, I will not accept you talking to me this way, they feel it angers them. But that is not your cup of tea if you really don't understand what this boundary is about. What is important is that you are peaceful in your own self, that you're thriving within your life, you know. That is not to say that you want to do acts of kindness to people. But like I said, there's a difference between doing acts of kindness to people and people being manipulative towards you. So you have to be able to recognize it. That's where you understand that. You have to set this. This is where boundaries are important, because people there are quite a number of people that are manipulative in their behaviors. They don't care how you feel. They don't care about your opinion. All they care about is what is in their head. They don't care how whatever they have done or planning to do will affect you or affect your life. They don't care about it. So they just do it so they just feel they have access to you, and that is enough justification for them to ask you anything or to say any comment that you don't feel comfortable with. But they say it anyway. Some people make jokes of important things in your life. They belittle some of your experiences, but it's up to you to recognize such people within your life and be able to stand up for yourself and say no, because your health overall and your well-being is dependent on you're able to ward off negativities and be able to embrace the positivities into your space. And so that's how you thrive and become your best self. So in the next video, I'm going to be talking about the various type of boundaries, the type of boundaries we can set and how to set them. I do not want this video to be very long. I want to keep it short and simple. So in the next video, I'll treat the type of boundaries that there are and how we can set the different kind of boundaries, what those boundaries look like. I do hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please give the video a thumbs up, and if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. Below this video you see the subscribe button, click on it, and that means you're subscribed to my channel. And you can turn on the notification so that you are notified whenever a new video is up on my channel. I appreciate your comments. I want us to keep the conversation going way long after the video has ended. I thank you for always coming by my channel. Until the next video, this is bye from me.